Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing this look for you, which is my take on a classic black smoky eye. It's quite intense, it's not for the faint-hearted. This may not be to all of your taste, but I think it's pure rock and roll. It's not like a very tidy eye makeup, so that's why I think some of you might not like it, but I love it, and I hope you do too. And if you do want to see how to do it, then keep watching. So today, for a change, I'm going to start with my eyes rather than the foundation, just because I'm going to be using pigments. Excuse me. So loose powder eyeshadows and dark colours as well, so they're just going to end up falling down on my cheeks. So at least if I do the eye makeup first, if I get loads of fall down, I can just wipe it away before I do my foundation rather than having to start my foundation all over again. So to start off, I'm just gonna put like the tiniest amount of concealer on my eyelids. The concealer I'm using is the MAC Studio Finish in NW20, and it's a 224 brush. And I mean like the tiniest amount, a really thin layer of it. And the reason I did concealer first is because I'm actually going to use fluid line, a gel eyeliner, this is Black Track by MAC, as the eyeshadow primer, because I'm doing a really dark smoky eye. So rather than use like a flesh coloured or a skin kind of, you know, a real neutral colour primer, if I use a black one, then I immediately have a really dark base to start off with. And the fluid lines make fantastic primers or bases for eyeshadow. The only thing is they do dry very quickly, so you have to work quite quickly with them. But by putting that very light layer of concealer on first, it kind of gives them a little bit more playtime, because you have that creaminess underneath them, so that kind of prevents them from drying too quickly. But it needs to be a very thin layer of concealer, otherwise it'll just crease and melt off. Okay, so I'm just going to apply the fluid line with this is a 242 brush. You really want it to be a nice, flat, dense brush. This is when I get to the end. I'm doing a little bit of a line, because I want the eye makeup to be quite lifted. So I'm just going to follow that line up. Now, just before it dries really quickly, use the 217 brush and just soften out the edge. And for underneath the eye, I'm using a 219 brush, just I find it a little bit easier to use under the eye. Just trace along the outside. And then 217 brush. And don't worry if you bring it down a little bit too far or if it looks kind of messy, because we haven't done any concealer or foundation yet, so we can always tidy everything up. So you end up with something that looks a little like this, which is just beautiful, don't you think? This is the thing about a smoky eye, it always looks rubbish halfway through or in the beginning. You just need to see it through to the end and it all comes together, I promise you. I hope so. Now I'm just going to tightline my waterline with a black pencil. This is the Bad Gal Waterproof Eyeliner by Benefit. Now I'm going to take a little bit of Wedge by MAC, and I'm going to blend that into my crease, well above my crease, kind of more into my brow bone. And the purpose of this is for it to act, I suppose, act as a blending colour, so it helps like I was saying in my copper eyes video, a blending colour just helps to make a nice smooth gradient of colour from like dark to light. So because it's an in-betweeny colour, it just makes the colour look an awful lot, the eyeshadow look more blended. But also with a really dark black smoky eye, sometimes they can look very cold. You know, if you're using grey and black and all those kind of colours, they can just look, I don't know, they can look very cold or dead kind of on the eye. So by introducing a warm brown colour like Wedge, you're just warming it up a tiny bit. It just makes it that a little bit more wearable. And it's not like it's supposed to look like you've got brown eyeshadow on, it just kind of, I don't know, it just makes it look like you're, I don't know what it is, I just like it. There you go, I can't explain it. So for the black eyeshadow, I'm using MAC, oh my god, I can't remember what it's called. I actually can't remember what this pigment is called, I don't have it written down. I will put it in the info bar, but it's their black pigment. It's just a little sample of it. Ooh! Oh, I got it all over my pants. And the carpet, great. But it's their black pigment and it's got a tiny, tiny little bit of a silver fleck going through it. This pigment is the messiest pigment that there is. It's just because it's so dark, you really, really see all the fall down. And just on my 217 again, blend out the edge. Okay, I'm just going to quickly even up with this eye and then come back and we'll do some finishing touches. So I'm going to do the skin now and then come back and finish off the eyes because they're not finished. Don't worry, there's a lot of work to do yet, so they will look better than this. Bear with me. For foundation, I am using the NARS Sheer Glow and the colour is Siberia, which is a little bit too yellow for me, but I'll just pop a little bit of my powder down into my neck and it will all blend in together. Going back to my Studio Finish concealer and 224 brush. I'm going to take this under the eye and clean up that line. So I'm not really taking it higher, I'm not trying to make it look any less dramatic, I'm just really softening it into the makeup so there's not like a line. Powder, I'm using MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in light and a 138 brush, 130, 138, I'm not sure, the pointy one. And I'm just going to give myself a tiny bit of a contour with this one of the Mineralized Skin Finishes in medium dark. I'm sorry if you can hear that, but there are people outside being really loud. It sounds like they're singing karaoke to Adele, and they're not really doing it justice. On my cheeks, I'm gonna go, whoops, with a nice bright peachy pink, because this look definitely needs an injection of colour. And this is from one of the Coastal Scents blush palettes. It would be really similar to MAC's Pink Swoon though, if you don't have this. I'm going to do a tiny bit of a highlight along the top of my cheekbones using MAC Naked Pigment, which is, if you're ever going to buy a MAC pigment, I would highly recommend Naked. It's, I'm afraid to show you in case I spill more pigment all over my carpet, but Naked is a good word for it. It's just like flesh coloured, but when you buff it in, it's got this fab, like really fine gold going through it. So it just gives the skin, like it's just a gorgeous highlighter. It gives the skin a really, really lovely warm sheen. And obviously it's a really, really nice, really natural, like shimmery kind of eye colour. Gorgeous for bridal makeup, actually, really, really nice. Going to do my brows using one of the Rimmel eyebrow pencils in the colour Hazel. And I'm going to lightly press over the top of that pencil with Texture by MAC, which is a real orangey brown. And I'm only going to fill the texture kind of about halfway back, because I want my eyebrows to kind of fade from light to dark, which is so in right now. I'm going to take a little bit of Naked Pigment on a clean 239 brush and just pop it on my brow bone. And I'm going to take a tiny bit of Wedge, which is the colour I used, the brown up here, on the same 224 brush I was using earlier, and just very lightly buff over the edge underneath the eye. And this, I find, again helps to blend out the edge of the colour, so it's a nice soft gradient of colour. But I think it also gives it a very soft focus kind of finish, so it's really like, you can't tell where the eyeshadow ends, it's really blurry. So the final bit of eyeshadow I'm going to put on is one of the much maligned MAC Big Bounce eyeshadows. Now these have gotten some very, very mixed reviews. They are a tricky formula to work with. But once you get the hang of them, I think they give a really, really cool effect on the eye. I found that they work best over eyeshadow, like over a powder eyeshadow. So that's what I'm going to do now. And this colour is Black Diamond. So hopefully, if this works, the effect we'll get from this is just a kind of glossy finish on the eye. So I'm not putting too much, I'm just kind of taking the excess off my brush. This is a 252 brush, so that my brush isn't too wet, because that'll just lift the powder off. Okay, and I'm just going to literally bounce the brush on my eye. And that's it. So it just gives like a shiny effect on the eye. Can you guess what mascara I'm going to use? Yes, that's right, Hot and Naughty. On my lips, I think I'm going to have to do a nude lip. I think it would look really cool actually to do a dark lip and just have, like, it would be a real goth kind of makeup. But just to keep it a little bit on the wearable side, I'm just going to do a nude lip. I'm going to use Plain Koi lipstick by MAC, which came out in the Quite Cute collection. It's very, very, very similar to Myth, just a tiny bit peachier, but really there's not so much difference that you should be worried if you can't get this. Just get Myth. And then gloss over the top with a Clinique Long Gloss Glosswear, and the colour is number 11, Clearly Pink. I love these lip glosses. I'm not a fan of lip gloss at all, but I really like these ones. They're not as sticky. And that's the finished look. So I hope you liked it. It's not too complicated. A smoky eye is not supposed to be a very constructed eye, in my opinion. I don't think, like a classic smoky eye. So this is a little bit deconstructed, if you will, a little bit messy, and you don't need 3 million different eyeshadows to do it. So yeah, if you liked it, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.